Hello everyone, I'm Kevin if you are new, and if you're not new, thank you for joining me again. I have some friends coming for dinner tonight, and since it's mid-November, I think we will call this a Friendsgiving dinner. Here's the menu. I'm going to start with a cream of mushroom soup, and then I'm doing a boneless turkey breast that I will cook in the Instant Pot. We will do herbed potato stacks. They're totally delicious. Glazed carrots, and either apple crisp or a puff pastry apple tart. I'm not sure which just yet. And for the cream of mushroom soup, I need 2 pounds of either button or baby Bella or cremini mushrooms. I have baby Bella mushrooms here that are already washed and sliced. And I'm going to make this soup in my purple 5-quart Dutch oven. And I need butter and olive oil. I will post the recipe I'm following in the description below, so you don't have to write anything down. I need to warm the oil and melt the butter on the stovetop. Once the butter has melted, we can stir in the mushrooms and let them cook until they have browned and released most of their moisture. That will take about 10 minutes. And in go the mushrooms. Give them a stir. So I want to coat the mushrooms with the oil and the butter. My mushrooms have browned, most of the liquid has evaporated. So now the recipe calls for fresh garlic and 3/4 of a cup of minced shallot. I don't have shallot, but I do have the homegrown onions that you and I diced and froze. So I'm going to add those. And one of the garlic pucks that you and I made together from homegrown garlic. Actually, I'm going to use 2 pucks. I also need some dried tarragon and chicken stock and salt. I can tell you right now that this cream of mushroom soup was a huge hit. I will make it again and again. Also, I want to mention that I changed my mind about the apple dessert. I'll show you the new dessert in just a moment. While we wait for the soup to come to a simmer, I wanted to mention that I really enjoy hosting people for simple dinners like this Friendsgiving dinner, and I hope you do too. All right, the soup is done. I let it cool for a few minutes, and I reserved some of the mushrooms so that I can use them for garnish. And now we can puree the soup. Oh, this soup, it just smells fantastic. This is actually my first time making cream of mushroom soup. It's certainly easy enough to make. And if it tastes anything like it smells, I will be one happy camper. Actually, I love the smell of mushrooms with tarragon and cream. Cream is something we're going to add later. Need to rinse out my pot. I always rinse or wash out my soup pot when I'm doing a pureed soup so that I don't have stuck-on bits getting mixed into the puree. I want a very smooth-looking soup. This looks just lovely. I'm going to add a splash of water to this blender just to clean it out. And then I want to whisk in some heavy cream. And of course, I need to give this soup a little taste test. Oh, this is utter perfection. I love it. I'm going to let this soup cool to room temperature, and then I will cover it and refrigerate it until serving time. Let me get cleaned up here, and then we can get started on the next recipe. This next recipe is herbed potato stacks, which will accompany the turkey breast. And I have some parsley that I just snipped from my garden, and I need to chop it. Herbed potato stacks are a bit of work, but you can make them well ahead of time. I will link the recipe I'm following in the description below. To start, I melt butter and a couple of frozen garlic pucks in the microwave. Then I stir in the chopped parsley, some dried thyme leaves, and salt and pepper. Set the mixture aside for a moment to let it cool slightly. Meanwhile, grease a standard muffin tin. I'm using avocado oil spray here. Next, thinly slice Yukon Gold potatoes. I'm using my mandolin to make uniform slices. Put the slices in a large bowl, add the herbed butter mixture, and toss until all of the slices are coated with the butter mixture. Now I'm putting a parsley leaf in the bottom of each muffin well. If all goes according to plan, once the potato stacks are unmolded, the parsley leaf will be neatly centered on the top of each stack. I put 3 or 4 potato slices in a muffin well and then sprinkle on some grated Parmesan cheese. Then I add 3 or more potato slices on top of the cheese. Next, the directions say to cover the muffin tin very tightly with aluminum foil. And then this goes into a preheated 375-degree Fahrenheit oven until a skewer can easily be inserted into the potato stacks. About 25 minutes. And while we are waiting on the potatoes, we might as well go ahead and cook the turkey. Now, we cooked a frozen bone-in turkey breast last year about this time in the Instant Pot, and it worked out beautifully. So I'm going to do a boneless turkey breast today because my supermarket did not have any bone-in. And this is, what, a 3-pound turkey. I need to hold this under warm water for a few moments just to loosen the packaging. Now this turkey breast comes with a packaged gravy. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to make my own gravy. I have to run this under water again. I'm letting that turkey sit in warm water for a couple of moments. Meanwhile, I want to check our potatoes. These are done. we can recover these potatoes because I am not ready to serve dinner yet. And then, shortly before serving time, I will boost the oven temperature to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, remove the aluminum foil cover, and bake for about 10 minutes just to crisp the edges of the potatoes. This is very hot. And now let's see if our turkey is ready to cooperate. Yes. So this is a big package of some kind of gravy, which I don't want because, again, we are going to make our own gravy. Then I want to rub this turkey with some of the wonderful poultry seasoning that you and I bought together at the Amish General Store, rather the Mennonite General Store. And it already has salt in it, so I don't need to add salt. And then this goes into the Instant Pot. And I already have 1.5 cups of water in here. And then we need to pressure cook this on high for 12 minutes per pound, which is 36 minutes. So I'm going to move the Instant Pot over to this counter because I still need this workspace. I think instead of the apple crisp or the puff pastry apple tart that I was planning for dessert, I'm going to bake off some of the wonderful ginger snap cookies that you and I made together for an afternoon tea about a month ago. And I froze the surplus unbaked, so I can bake them off and serve the cookies with ice cream. I'm going to disinfect my work surface and my hands, and then we can get started on the glazed carrots. That's the second side dish to accompany the turkey. So these are carrots from my garden that you and I harvested and blanched and froze. And I'm going to glaze them with a little butter and some maple syrup. And that reminds me, I still have carrots in my garden that you and I need to harvest. We better do that soon because I think snow is coming. Now, I'm going to add enough water to come halfway up these carrots. Butter and a splash of maple syrup. And the maple syrup will add perfume and it will just bring out the sweetness of these homegrown carrots. But I'm not ready to cook them yet, so I will just set them on the stove and cook them off shortly before serving time. So I've lowered my oven temperature to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. And here are the frozen, unbaked ginger snap cookies, and they're already rolled in sugar. And I think I mentioned in that episode that, well, the world is your oyster when you have frozen, unbaked cookies in your freezer. This has just made my life a whole lot easier. These only need about 12 minutes in the oven. And while we wait on the turkey and the cookies, I'm going to bring in some firewood. here are the ginger snaps. They smell just fantastic. They look fantastic too. Going to let them cool. And then again, we will serve these with ice cream. And here is the turkey. Now this turkey is wrapped in a fishnet stocking, which I need to remove. It's very tender. And then we can transfer this turkey to a platter. I decorated the platter with some rosemary that I clipped from the garden. I do want to try one little piece of this turkey. Super delicious, very moist, perfectly seasoned. I'm going to cover this turkey with some aluminum foil while we make the gravy. So I'm going to use the juices that are already in the Instant Pot to make the gravy. And I will thicken it with cornstarch mixed with just enough cold water to make a smooth slurry. Now, I don't know why, but every time I use cornstarch, the stuff goes everywhere. So I have the Instant Pot on the saute setting so that the liquid will come to a boil. So now we can stir the cold cornstarch into the boiling liquid and whisk. And of course, the cornstarch will thicken the liquid pretty much immediately. Gravy can go into this little gravy boat here. Try to do this without having a disaster. Potato stacks. And I do need to unmold these. Let me fetch a platter. I want to run a knife around each of these potato stacks. And let me thank my friend Ted, who sent me this wonderful heavy-duty plastic knife. It is perfect for using on non-stick cookware. Of course, I want to try one of these potato stacks for you. Just put mine on a little plate. Bon appetit. These potato stacks always blow me away. They are crispy on the outside and very creamy on the inside. And I love that layer of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to sneak one glazed carrot before I bring this to table. Perfect. And just slightly sweet from the maple syrup.
I put the main course and all of the sides in their serving dishes in a 200-degree oven just to keep everything warm while I served the first course soup. I ladled the soup into teacups and garnished each serving with a reserved mushroom and a shower of chopped parsley.
I'm serving the dessert in these little crystal dessert goblets. And everyone will get 2 cookies. And a sprig of mint just to make things look pretty. Well, my friends have gone home, and I probably have a million dishes to wash, but I honestly don't mind because this Friendsgiving dinner was a huge success. I will put links to all of the recipes in the description box below. And I hope you feel inspired to host your own Friendsgiving dinner this month. Until next time, please treat yourself very, very well, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye for now, friends.